In the winter of 1904, William J. Carroll, a drayman living in Salt Lake City, had been recently divorced from his wife because of his abusive behavior. In the weeks leading up to his arrest, he'd stop by her home at 728 West 1st South and hurl abuse at her and scream. She called the police and brought him up on charges of using abusive language. Mrs. Carroll, whose first name the papers at the time did not print, and some of her friends testified against her former husband in court. When the judge asked Carroll if he'd like to say anything, he said that she'd said all there was to say, then hurled a curse at her and said that he'd told her what he'd do. That's when he produced a razor blade and cut his own throat in the courtroom for all to see, blood spurting everywhere. Many thought this was the end of the story of William J. Carroll and good riddance, but according to a report in the January 5, 1908 edition of the Salt Lake Republican-Herald, two women, Arabella Brown and Lori Williams, confined in the Salt Lake City jail, had an encounter with his ghost. They claimed he roamed the halls in the middle of the night. "Ain't you dead?" one of the women asked the ghost, but the specter's only response was to smile and laugh, prancing and dancing up and down the prison hallway, shaking his head all the while. Both women were too frightened to do anything about it and covered their heads beneath their blankets until dawn.